My name is Erick Barrera, and this is my position presentation for CM 124 Construction Labor Relations. My topic today is on non-union labor meeting or exceeding safety standards in modern construction projects. And so, just for some background context, there's a difference between non-union labor and union labor. So some of the differences are for like non-union labor, their wages, benefits, and working conditions are negotiated individually between workers and employers. Employers have more flexibility in hiring and firing and managing workforce needs. Workers' protections and benefits may vary depending on individual agreements with employers without the standardization provided by unions. So this just means that usually workers aren't all together under like collective bargaining agreements. And then for usually when you're getting fired or hired, you don't have to go through a whole like ordeal, meeting with union labor and your employer and figuring out why are you being fired. So just you're pretty much like at will employment. It's easier to get fired. Workers' protections and benefits may vary, so it really just depends on how you negotiate your contract with, the employer and you. It's completely different for union labor. Union labor wages, benefits, and working conditions are collectively bargained for by the union on behalf of its members. Workers operate under standardized contracts negotiated between union and employers, providing consistent treatment. Unions advocate for workers' rights collectively, meaning a unified voice in workplace matters. And so here they have a lot more say on their wages and benefits and working conditions because they are under a collective bargaining agreement. So why is it significant? Why is this topic significant? Workers benefit directly from higher safety practices. A reduced risk of injury leads to better physical and mental health, increased job satisfaction, and higher morale. This can result in lower turnover rates and a more stable workforce. This is important especially for non-union labor because regulatory compliance. And so meeting or exceeding safety practices ensures compliance with safety regulations, reducing the risk of fines, legal issues. This compliance is important for maintaining operational licenses and avoiding costly legal disputes. And number 3, improve safety standards for industry-wide. When non-union construction labor follows high safety standards, it raises the overall safety bar for the entire construction industry. This encourages all parties, regardless of union status, to focus on safety, reducing the possibility of accidents in industries. And so at the end of the day, you want to get your workers home safe, and non-union labor want to make sure that they get home to their families, just like union labor wants their workers to get to their family. And so it's significant because you have to follow all these different types of rules and regulations, OSHA and any other agencies that require you to provide safety standards and everything. So now this is my statement of support, and so I truly believe that non-union construction labor matches or exceeds safety practices on projects through strict training programs, industry standards, and a commitment to safety-first culture. Non-union contractors must follow the same federal and state safety regulations as unionized labor, such as OSHA standards. Construction uses non-union labor more frequently. In fact, only 10.7% of construction workers belong to a union. And to say that they aren't matching or if not exceeding safety regulations and maintaining compliance to avoid penalties and ensure worker well-being isn't true. Non-union labor also prioritizes safety through the use of detailed safety plans for each project, safety audits, and employing dedicated safety managers who overlook and enforce safety protocols. By creating an environment where safety is the most important aspect, non-union labor would at least match union labor when it comes to safety regulations. So both you have to hire, safety managers. You're gonna have OSHA inspections on projects that use both non-union and union labor, and you're gonna have workers reporting accidents, and so you have to meet a certain standard of safety when you're building these projects. It's not like you can't get away with stuff, and obviously there's mistakes that happen, and people do get hurt, and so um, construction companies that use non-union labor and even union labor want to meet those standards and even exceed them. Whenever they come to interview at Fresno State, they're always touting their safety reports and how they have the least incidents of accidents, incidences of accidents. So social influences that are impacting, this topic, I guess. So community standards and expectations. In many communities, there is a growing awareness and expectation of high safety standards in the workplace. The idea of getting everyone back home safely to their families is helping non-union labor to exceed safety standards, if not at least meet safety standards. The social pressure forces non-union contractors to adopt robust safety practices to maintain a positive reputation and attract skilled labor. So there's always bad publicity when someone dies on a project, and families going on the news and um, advocating for safety practice, more safety inspections or more safety regulations, more construction project regulations. And so no company, doesn't matter if they use non-union labor or union labor, they want to ensure that their public image is good, but most of all that their workers get home safe. And so the only way to do that is to meet safety standards. Have safety managers patrolling, doing site inspections, and making sure that everyone's doing their job the way they're supposed to. Political influences. So obviously from the state and federal level, you have rules, safety rules. So like non-union contractors must follow government safety rules like those from OSHA. There's regular checks and fines for breaking rules. Make sure safety standards are followed. Labor laws. Changes in labor laws can affect how union contractors manage safety. Policies requiring higher safety standards influence contractors to enhance their safety efforts. So you have, OSHA, you have all these other agencies that regularly make sure that you are following regulations and guidelines, making sure you have the proper safety precautions. And then strong enforcement of safety standards ensures non-union contractors maintain high safety practices. Increased inspection and enforcement encourage ongoing improvements and safety measures. A lot of construction companies can get sued by the government for not meeting safety standards. It's not just for workers, but also for people that use the building, and so there needs to be a high level of enforcement. Economic influence. So direct costs. Accidents lead to medical bills and legal fees. Accidents may cause delays and higher insurance rates. Insurance premiums may rise. Fewer claims lead to lower workers' compensation costs. Productivity and efficiency. Safe work environments mean fewer stops at work. Someone's not getting hurt, they can still be there working. By keeping them safe, you help the company's bottom line. Legal and compliance costs. Like I said, you could get sued or fined by the federal government or even states for not following rules. And so all these factors is forcing non-union labor to meet standards, if not exceed these standards. And so there's all these different types of influences, making sure that they meet standards. And right here is just my resources that I use for my presentation, and that's it pretty much. Thank you.